everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Crafty Beer Reviews. Today, I will be doing a side-by-side of Alpine Hoppy Birthday, Duet, and Nelson. These three beers were just released for the very first time in Ohio, so they are about as fresh as we're ever going to get them. Now, before I dig into the actual review, I just want to note up front that there has been a lot of controversy over these beers. So, these are brewed and bottled by Green Flash. Green Flash went into a partnership with Alpine. It's been a few years at this point, I know for sure. And ever since then, apparently Alpine, gave the recipe to Green Flash, and they've been brewing them on Green Flash's facility. Now, it's pretty obvious which ones are Green Flash brewed Alpine and which are original Alpine bottles. For one, there is a very clear Green Flash stamp on every single one of their bottles. And the other way to know is if you've never gotten Alpine before and all of a sudden you're getting Alpine, yeah, they're brewed by Green Flash. So I do want to say I've never had any of the Alpine originals, so this will be the very first time I'm having these beers. So I won't be able to compare them to the originally brewed Alpine, so I don't know, exactly how each one is going to taste different. But this should be a really fun comparison. I'm just going to go down the line, and yeah, should be very, very fun. So the first one we're starting with is Hoppy Birthday. Now, in the past, I thought this was labeled as a pale ale. They're putting Session IPA on the bottle, so I don't know if that changed when Green Flash started bottling these, or if over the years Alpine has just updated the description. But they are using 6 different kinds of hops for this one, and it is only 5.25%. So yeah, definitely in the sessionable range. Let's go ahead, check out the aroma. Well, up front, I'm definitely getting a lot of citrus. There's kind of the sweet orange. I'm definitely getting some grapefruits. Definitely getting some pine, a little bit of like a very slight kind of resiny note in there as well. But yeah, it's mostly citrus, a lot of bittersweet grapefruit, orange peel. Definitely almost like a little bit of a lemon character in there too. Yeah, definitely some pine, a little bit of dank, some resiny. It's definitely kind of got that West Coast feel to it. Yeah, I gotta say, it smells pretty good for a Session IPA. Let's go ahead and take our first sip. Oh yeah, just like in the aroma, first thing I'm getting is kind of this bittersweet grapefruit. I'm getting like some sweet, slightly juicy orange. There's a little bit of like an herbal lemon note in there as well. Definitely getting some of that dankness. I'm getting a little bit more dankness in the actual taste. There's definitely a big kind of West Coast pine character to this one. Getting a little bit of like a resiny finish as well. There's not too much in the way of malt. There's like a little bit of like a bready malt backbone to this one, but yeah, it's drinking pretty good. I gotta say though, for a Session IPA, this one is pretty damn bitter. On the back end, it has got this really, really bitter bite to it. Dries it out pretty well on the back end. It's got lighter side of medium for a body. It doesn't approach watery territory, which is good because that's definitely where the problem comes in for me for a lot of these Session IPAs. But it has got a lot of flavor for sure. It's easy drinking. It's not blowing my mind like everyone, with the original Alpine is going crazy for, but I think it's a really well done Session IPA. So, nice stuff. I'm going to take a sip of water real quick before diving into the next one. Alternatively, I guess I could have used a Bud Light as a palate cleanser too, but whatever. Alright, so next one is Duet. This is their single IPA, and they are using Simcoe and Amarillo hops in this. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's nice. So, up front, definitely big citrus, again, orange, almost like a slight kind of tangerine sweetness. Definitely getting a little bit of like a piney note. West Coast vibe in this one again for sure. Yeah, it definitely has that pine, very, very little bit of like a dank character in this one as well. Again, very, very citrusy, definitely on that fruity spectrum. I must get like a little bit of like an apricot kind of note in there too, very mildly. Yeah, definitely nice citrus, very, again, piney kind of. This one definitely, I think, is a little bit more citrus forward than I was smelling on Hoppy Birthday, but yeah, smells pretty good too. Let's take our first sip. Yeah, so for this one, I'm getting grapefruit, orange peel, definitely that pine. A little bit of like an herbal character. There's definitely some sort of dankness. But yeah, it definitely has that kind of West Coast IPA feel to this one as well. A little bit more like piney, resiny on the second sip, but still it's got this really bright citrus character. Orange, grapefruit, lemon, and definitely has a good amount, I would say, of that kind of piney note in there too, for sure. Not real strong, not as strong as like in Hoppy Birthday for me, but it's still in there. Really nice, easy to drink though. Again, nothing mind-blowing, but it still tastes like a really just well-done single IPA. And it's got a medium body to it, kind of a crisp, clean kind of mouthfeel. It's definitely not, to me almost, weirdly enough, it doesn't seem as bitter as Hoppy Birthday. Hoppy Birthday seemed really bitter for a session IPA. And this one has more of like a medium bitterness to it. Still dries it out, but it's not crazy bitter. Alright, a little bit more water here. Alright, so we are moving on to the last one. I also want to note, this color is a lot different than the other two. The other two have a very similar color. This one definitely has a much more opaque kind of look to it. So this is Nelson. This is their rye IPA. They're using a little bit of rye malt in this, and they're also exclusively using, if you couldn't guess it from the name, Nelson Sauvin hops, which is one of my favorite hop varieties. So looking forward to this one. This one is also supposed to originally be just a mind-blowing beer. Let's go ahead, check out the aroma. Oh, yeah, that smells pretty good. Yeah, a lot of this kind of white wine, white grape note up front, very fruit forward, orange, tangerine, almost a little bit of like a light pineapple, bit of like a peachy note. Yeah, that's nice. A very light kind of dank character to it, but it's got a lot of that orange, a lot of that kind of white grape note to this one too. Yeah, very citrusy, very fruity. Smells pretty damn good, actually. Definitely has the best aroma of the three so far. Let's go ahead and check out the taste. Yeah, follows the nose really well. White grape, kind of this white wine character. Definitely a lot of bright citrus, light tropical fruits. Orange, tangerine. It definitely has some of that kind of pineapple sweetness in there as well. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Definitely has a nice dank character to it. Really, I don't know. For being supposedly, inferior to the original, this is pretty damn solid, I gotta say. White wine, white grape, light tropical fruits, big kind of juicy citrus to it as well. Not a whole lot in the way of the malt backbone. I do get a little bit of like a slight rye spiciness, but I don't think they use a whole lot of the rye malt though, because it's not overly spicy, which is good because sometimes these rye IPAs just overdo it, and I really don't think that's the case with this one. Just a very mild kind of spicy note in there to complement, I think, the Nelson Sauvin hops. Medium bodied, again, crisp, clean kind of mouthfeel. It definitely has a nice bitterness to it. Again, kind of a medium level. It is slightly dry and it's definitely slightly sharp, but it's not offensive. So, yeah, pretty nice. I gotta say, of the three, this is definitely my favorite. I think this is definitely the standout so far. And again, I haven't had these other green, the original bottles of Alpine, but all of these have been pretty good. So I'm going to go through all of them one last time, give a final rating and my final thoughts as well. Alright, so we're going to check out the Hoppy Birthday one last time. Yeah. Yeah, oddly enough, I think this is definitely the most bitter of them all. I don't know if it's just because since it is a session IPA, they're using less malts, obviously, but it's definitely got the most bitterness. Definitely, again, very citrus forward. Got a lot of that piney, dank, resin kind of character, too. It's got a lot of flavor for a session IPA. Definitely has that very strong West Coast vibe to it, but I gotta say, it is a little too bitter for me. So, in terms of rating, guys, I'm going with a 9 out of 10. I think it's really well made. It's got a ton of flavor. It's not too watery. It's easy to drink. You know, it's low in alcohol, which I really, really like. But again, it's very bitter. And it just kind of has, you know, what I typically expect from like a West Coast IPA. A lot of citrus fruit and then, you know, that dank, piney, resiny characters too. Nothing, you know, nothing terrible, but nothing mind-blowing. I think just a really, really solid beer. Alright, so we're going to move on to the Duet next. Alright. Yeah, again, this one has that grapefruit, orange, you know, lemony kind of citrus notes. Definitely kind of that bittersweet grapefruit. Piney, resiny, dank, classic kind of West Coast notes. I think it's really well done. Again, though, to me, this one tastes like a lot of other West Coast IPAs out there. It doesn't do anything to really differentiate itself to me. And it's nothing crazy. It is really well made. It's got a nice, you know, amount of bitterness. It's easy to drink, but it's nothing crazy. So, in terms of rating, I'm going with an 8.8 out of 10. Again, I do enjoy this one for sure. It's just nothing really memorable. And again, you know, these are all the Green Flash brewed ones. So again, I've never had the originals, but to me, it's just tastes like a well done West Coast IPA, true to style. Alright, and finally we are going to Nelson. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite of the bunch. I think it's just a really well-made beer. Again, if this is inferior to the original product, the original product must be pretty mind-blowing because this is just a really well-done beer to me. It's got a lot of that Nelson character, white grape, white wine, very, very fruity, orange, tangerine, just big on that bright citrus notes. You know, there's the pineapple, the peachy notes, just really, really easy to drink. It's got a mild rice, spicy note on the back end. It's not too bitter. And I gotta say, for 8%, very, very drinkable, scary drinkable as a matter of fact. So, nice stuff. Easily, again, my favorite of the three. In terms of rating for that one, guys, I'm going with a 9.4 out of 10. Nelson's Alpine hops, of course, are also some of my favorite hop varieties, so I think that plays into it, but just a really well done, I think, single hopped IPA. So, yeah, there you guys have it. That is my side-by-side of all three of these beers. Please feel free to comment below. Let me know if you've had these, or if you've tried these and you've tried some of the OG Alpine beers as well. Again, this is really the only one that I think I would go back and buy. This is really, really well done. At the same time, you know, it's just we've got so many beers on the market, and there's a lot of session IPAs out there, and my personal favorites still are some local ones, so that's why I wouldn't go back to that, but that's really well done. So, one thing I've noticed is that definitely all have this very bitter West Coast, of course, feel to it. These two definitely do. I don't know. Duet definitely tastes to me kind of like a Green Flash beer. The other two, not so much. Again, I've never had them, so it would be cool if I could ever get to try the original Alpine beers. But as it stands, I think that they're pretty well made. Just none of them are as mind-blowing or as, like, you know, awe-inspiring as the original ones seem to be based on reviews online, but there's been a lot of different opinions, a lot of controversy. These have been some very interesting beers to get. I know that Pure Hoppiness is coming, so that should be a fun one to check out as well. Alright guys, thank you for joining me on this one. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit that like button, and remember, I hope whatever you're doing involves good craft beer. See ya.